with Louella. Written and illustrated by Margaret Hurd. This week's episode, Agnus, McSlash. Louella Snuggle Bunny was at Millie the Millicent's house one day after school when they were watching Much Music. There was a new video by this hot new band called the Kissing Practice Dummies. Both Millie and Louella had a wild crush on Agnus McSlash, the band's totally foxy lead singer, and they were crazy about his latest hit song. Be nice to me, I'm irreplaceable. Rub me the wrong way, my looks can kill. Behind the smile from here to Mexico is a mean streak from here to Brazil. That night, Louella was almost too excited to sleep. Oh, Angus, she sighed, hugging her pillow and pretending it was him. She gave it a long, passionate kiss. The next day at school, Millie and Louella found out just how popular their favorite new band really was. All their friends, Michelle, Stephanie, Linnea, and Shelley, were crazy about the Kissing Practice Dummies too, and their lockers were already full of their pictures. In fact, Shelley, Linnea, and Stephanie already had Kissing Practice Dummies t-shirts. They were all quite Twitter-pated with Agnus McSlash. Michelle, however, had to be different and was in love with the drummer, Matt Grundo. She was wearing her hair in a ponytail with a red pirate-style bandana on her head, just like Matt's. Hey, let's start our own Kissing Practice Dummies fan club, she suggested. I love it, agreed Louella. Tomorrow, let's all come to school dressed like Agnus McSlash, added Millie. Everyone agreed it would be a wonderful idea. Oh, no. You're not going to school dressed like that, exclaimed Margaret the next morning as she eyed Louella's torn, spray-painted t-shirt, checkered high tops with mismatched neon socks, and a very short kilt. Well, you wore kiss makeup to school a couple times when you were in high school, said Louella. In fact, some kids thought you were Gene Simmons' mom. Oh, all right, you win, sighed Margaret. Go ahead, but don't be surprised if you get sent home. That morning, Louella and her friends all marched into history class dressed just like Agnus McSlash. All of them wore torn, spray-painted t-shirts, very short kilts, and checkered high tops with mismatched neon socks. Their teacher, Ms. Dinglefritz, was not impressed. That is not an appropriate way for proper young ladies to dress for school, she drawled in her slow, duck-like nasal voice. Go home and change into some normal clothes at once. Louella and her friends all went home and changed, but they kept their neon socks and high tops. And of course it was okay for Michelle to come back to school wearing her Matt Grundo pirate bandana. Later, Michelle came to school with wonderful news. Girls, you're not going to believe this, she exclaimed. You know my Uncle Vinny who works for the gardens? Well, he bought us all these. Michelle pulled out 6 front-row tickets to the Kissing Practice Dummies concert in Toronto. There was more jumping around and screaming between them than a group of crazed game show contestants. Time went very, very slowly on the day of the big concert. Time always does when you've got something majorly radical to look forward to. Science was their last class that day, but of course neither Millie nor Louella could concentrate. All they could think about was Agnus McSlash. Earth to Millie and Louella, Earth to Millie and Louella, said Mr. Cahugan-Flugel, waving a hand in front of their faces. Are you two really here today, or are you just Fig Newtons of my imagination? Millie and Louella were too dazed and excited to laugh at Mr. Cahugan-Flugel's little jokes the way they normally do. At last it was the night of the concert. "Let the bells ring and the banners fly," said the announcer. "They're colossal, they're stupendous, they're outrageous, they're tremendous. They're the irreplaceable kissing practice dummies." The band rushed on stage as screams filled the air. Max Grundle sat down at his drums. Craig Michaels picked up his bass, and Eric Griswold picked up his guitar. As they began to play, Angus McSlash stormed in wearing a long, bright purple trench coat. "You yum-yum, I'm just wacky about you," shrieked Millie the Millicent as Angus began to sing. "I thought I'd never get to sleep last night. You were always on my mind. I wanted more than just to hold you tight. And I don't mean bump and grind. I see you in my dreams, haunting me night and day. If you push me to extremes, then you're gonna hear me say, be nice to me, I'm irreplaceable. Rub me the wrong way, my looks can kill. Behind this smile from here to Mexico is a mean streak from here to Brazil. Louella, being a unique rabbit, managed to sneak backstage with Millie after the show, right past the security guard, who was actually too busy talking on the phone to notice them as they poked their heads in through the dressing room door. They could not believe their eyes. There was Angus McSlash, with a can of beer in one hand, and in the other, a funny little cigarette that smelled like burnt rubber. Millie and Louella were shocked and disappointed. Angus caught them staring through the door and muttered something we can't repeat on television. Louella did not want to talk about the concert when she came back home late that night. In fact, she just wanted to forget the whole thing had ever happened. She was absolutely heartbroken. "Are you okay?" asked Margaret. Now that was a stupid question. Louella wept so hard she could barely speak. Margaret lifted Louella onto her lap and hugged her. "You must have had quite the experience," said Margaret. Louella then proceeded to tell Margaret what had happened, how she had seen her favorite rock star acting. "Oh, Louella, I know exactly how you feel," said Margaret. "You do?" "Yes, it hurts to see someone you care about doing stuff like that. Drinking and drugs are definitely not cool." This led to a very long talk that lasted until the daylight hours. The next day, Louella was over at Millie's house. They were sitting in the kitchen, consoling each other over milk and cookies, when Miles Molecule dropped by to visit with his guitar. "I've been working on a surprise for you ladies," he said. "Be nice to me, I'm irreplaceable."